Daniel Markovits wrote a book, The Meritocracy Trap. I saw him interviewed. He's very good on Amanpour and Company. Points out the BS that meritocracy is. It's wonderful stuff. The playing field is not level. No. We haven't done that. We never intended to do that. And history shows the elites are desperate to maintain the inequality gap. And they hold the power. So ain't nothing happening there, except what if Daniel could go fully where he only hints? The elites are a miserable mini lot. Most Ivy League grads go into finance, he says, an unuseful to society place, he admits. I would think that is because their special talent does not extend to any notion of social responsibility. They probably think their talent makes them different, exceptional, nay, demigods, that they lack the gene that takes solace in a job well done, that they are only interested in personal wealth and power. This might describe the babbling, insane Caesars of Gladiator II, but not special people. These are called psychopaths. What is wrong with them, one might ask? How many millions do they need to compensate for their misery? We might be on a leveler playing field, certainly, if we didn't make the ridiculous and totally without evidence assumption that the Ivy League confers a deeper realization of the human condition. Accept this premise, and the only banked curve is inequality of compensation. It's an interesting thing to me as a high school graduate, that my education has continued relentlessly ever since, dipping in and out of all kinds of areas. But the presumption is, probably by osmosis or a kind of creepy evolution, that if you went to college, you became a better person. There is absolutely zero evidence for this, possibly evidence in the other direction. And then you get into, well, what is the better college? And therefore, do you get more of this mythological goodness by going to the better college, etc., etc.? Find another way to convince yourself you are worthwhile, that you made it, quote, got ahead, quote, terms so revealing as to be laughable. At some point in my hunt, Glenn Lowry speaks something about how hard the elite work. Here he'd need to define both terms, hard and work. Sacrifice, he says. Sorry, mate, your myths are showing, except that only the miserable speak of work and hard as hard. You mean your life is hard, harder, therefore? You deserve more? You don't. You deserve what you're worth. Your misery does not change your worth, not a hair. The Democrats, now the party of the elite, are masters of this, knowing that what they do for a living contributes less and less to the rest, and they're getting guilty. Allow the elites to be excellent as all of us are. All that would change is their constituents. Stop rewarding people you admit do nothing socially useful, financiers. They might find something else to do with all that talent. It will tread on Jeffersonian toes to stop paying them so much, so tax them. Tax them into infinity, hard, salary cap them. Connect merit to worth. It is evidence of meritocratic failure to me that Daniel cannot go there. Why is that? There's a lot of Yale in him, a lot of Yale dollars wasted. He's a good man teetering on the edge of the truth. I have recently discovered his credentials concealed from him. Do you imagine a car mechanic longs for a doctorate? Try accolades for machinists, MBEs for sheetrock hangers. Polly Toynbee, this bears repeating, a good old lefty from Britain, expresses it thus: we have to make a path from the tea room to the boardroom. Why? I know where I'd rather sit and with whom. Dignify the tea room and pay the boy properly. Do not condemn him to suits and ties and self-esteem based on brand, unless he or she want it. It's so easy, Daniel. Why did Yale shut the door on that obvious possibility? Dick Cavett chortled years ago and smirked and asked Bill Withers how he felt when Mrs. Jones hit number one. Why, you were working for an airline, weren't you? Yes, Dick, I installed toilets in Lockheed passenger jets. Oh, wow, said Dick, and now you're a million record seller. How does that feel? Bill stared at him for a moment and said very deliberately, try going 2 weeks without one of my songs or 2 weeks without a toilet. Dick chuckled some more, then made the same mistake with Richard Burton soon after, assuming he had risen above being a miner. Richard and Bill were very talented people, rewarded perhaps for their inspiration. That is useful, about as useful as I'd say as coal and toilets. They might have become more profound humans, very useful to society, a dying breed. Socrates was not rich, but they might not agree, had Dick thought to ask. But he didn't. And we go on with this. And I wonder what it is. Maybe it is the work that is involved in going to university, the stress, the disappointment, the discouragement, the despair. Markovitz touches on this, and it's kind of interesting when he does. Maybe that's what Lowry means by hard work. It's suffering, and maybe these people feel that they need to be paid for that. And I think that there's to me that's an alienation takes place, a separation from what the rest of humanity, what the rest of life is all about. You know. There are slow intimations that people are getting the picture. That we are at least we are human beings have at least 4 centers of their gifts: sensing, thinking, intuiting, and feeling. And just because you think doesn't make you better. If that's what you're stressing on the whole time, then you will become unwell because you're missing the other 3. And the other 3 are just not valued.